Generalization, is it a good thing or a bad thing? Well, I'm not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I think in some of the teachings, or some people say that do not generalize people. For instance, if you say generally girls are weaker than boys, is that correct or is that wrong? For instance, if you bring randomly choose 10 girls and randomly choose 10 boys and put, for example, a heavy weight on the floor, for instance, let's say a 50 kilogram, and what do you think that that weight is going to be picked up by most people in which group? Do you think that 50 kilogram is going to be picked up by carried by boys or girls in more in numbers? I do really think the boys will pass the girls in that thing. So you can generalize that kind of thing, but in many things actually you can generalize not just a sexual generalization, but you can generalize age group. For example, let's say for running, right? You bring out 10 70 years old men and 10 20 years old boy or man, and you make a running race in it. How many number of 20 years old men will pass the number of that? So it is generalizing. Obviously there are some other there are some men 70 years old men will even pass the speed of a 20 years old man. There is a possibility even in the weight uh, race. For instance, some girls will actually be able to carry that 50 kilograms in a longer duration comparing to some of the boys in the group. But generally speaking, is in that race, boys will win. And also, generally speaking, in the running race, 20 years old men will win against the 70 years old men. So is it? It may not be a fact, but it is somehow what we think it is correct. So it is a very difficult mind that sometimes, as a human being, I think that generalizing or generalization is a bad thing. But sometimes I think generalization is could be correct. At the end of the day, it is generalization. So we are not saying that the race is going to be won. The all the people who 20 years old will pass that 70 years old man. We are not saying all of them, or we are not saying that all girls will not be able to carry 50 kilogram. Only all men will carry that 20 kilogram or 50 kilograms. We are not saying that. We are saying generally there's a high chance that men will win that race, and generally there is a high chance that a young man will win the race against old men, for instance. And there's many other things that we can compare that kind of things. So how do you think about generalization? Do you think that generalizing something is correct? Or I mean, you can make this a sexual generalization or racial generalization or any kind of other type of generalization because that's a group of people. But you can also do like another type of generalization. For example, you can say um, African people darker in color, or you can say, generally speaking, I am not sure if it's correct, but Norwegian people are taller in height, for example. Uh, or you can say most of the Chinese people they have a um, that kind of shape of eyes. You can say, um, or you can say white men like to drink in alcohol at the end of at the weekends. So Is it like is this generalization a bad thing, or saying this, is it a bad thing, or is it actually a normal, or is it a good thing? How do you think about this? Any like, and many generalization you can make, actually many generalization you can actually make on that. And this is something critical because some people, they dislike that, or they against that, or they really offend that generalization. And in a way that I see, it looks like some of the generalization, or maybe most of the generalization, even that is a generalization, what I am saying could actually be true. So, well, I'm not sure. I'm just making this video just to ask question, just to ask how do you people think about that. But it is I think sometimes about this, but I couldn't come out with a an actual correct answer about if generalization is actually a bad thing, or it actually may be correct. Thanks for watching. Bye.